Somebody understand why the appearance day is today, and it's Ekadasi, and the appearance day is every year, it's on Ekadasi, and then it's Mahadwadasi the next day. Vamanadevas. Who knows what that's all about? You know what that's all about? It has to do with fasting. But that's always on the Dwadasi day. Why is Vraha? Sri Radhika has a suggestion. Tomorrow is appearance day, but we have to break Ekadasi fast tomorrow morning. So it is actually tomorrow, not today. Okay. So we're 1 day early. The appearance day tomorrow, today. You got it?
Yes.
Our Mridanga player. Did you understand all that? You want to say it back so I can see that you've understood all that? His appearance day is tomorrow, but no, it's fasting today. We have to break the fast tomorrow because of the Ekadasi fast, but we're fasting in honor of Vamana's appearance day today because we have to break the Ekadasi fast tomorrow. So observing it today, although it's tomorrow, the Dwadasi day, Vamana Dwadasi. Is it clear? You sure? You think? Okay. There's many new things, different things, and plus some standard things that you all know. Primarily arising from Rupa Goswami's Laghu Bhagavatamrita. The new things are come from him. Could you just stop fiddling with the camera? I want to see the audience. I don't want to see your hands in the camera. Okay. By the way, most of what is being presented this evening was already this morning for the devotees from China, and it took twice as long because it was English-Chinese. Parental affection is one of the rasas in relation to the personality of Godhead. And for there to be parental affection towards the personality of Godhead, then he becomes the son for parental affection towards him to manifest. So as we know, many of you know, when Krishna appeared in the prison house of Kamsa, he said to Vasudeva and Devaki, long ago, before you were Vasudeva and Devaki, you were Sutapa and Prishni, or Prishni and Sutapa. And you underwent austerities for a long time. And you had this desire, I came before you, and you had a desire that you would like a son like me. But there's no son like me, and so I'll become your son 3 times. Now this is the 4-armed form that Krishna manifested when he first was born. So Sutapa and Prishni, benediction, Lord Vishnu appeared as their son. Prishni Garbha. Prishni is the mother's name. Garbha indicates that he appeared from the womb of Prishni, so Prishni Garbha. And then, in another lifetime, they became Kashyapa and Aditi. And Upendra or Vamana or Trivikram all means the same person, just indicating some features of his pastime. He appeared. So Krishna is saying, I appeared, and now I'm the third time. Just as I promised, here I am in the prison house of Kamsa. So these are the three features of parental affection, starting with Sutapa and Prishni, Kashyapa and Aditi, Vasudeva and Devaki. According to Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Vamana, that's the same as Upendra, Upa Indra, because Indra was one of the sons of Kashyapa and Aditi, so he's Upa Indra, near. He came, anyway, we'll hear, he came as a result of a ritual or an austerity, Payovrata ritual that Kashyapa recommended to Aditi so that Indra could get back his kingdom. Because Indra lost his kingdom. We'll hear some more. So in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, based upon, we'll see towards the end, based upon the scripture Harivamsa, it specifically said that Vamana is an Angsa avatar of Krishna or Vishnu. So what's an Amsa avatar mean? Avatar is one who descends, and Angsa means a part. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, living entities are his fragmental parts. Mam eva angsa, jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana. Eternally we're angsas, fragmental angsa. And Vamana is a vibhu, he's much bigger angsa, but an angsa avatar of Vishnu or Krishna. And parental affection begins from cultivation of bhakti from a qualified personality like these three parents. And they have prayers. So we're going to hear more about Kashyapa and Aditi's prayers, specifically Aditi's prayers, under the direction of Kashyapa to perform. And here's one of about 40 paintings of Vamana that we're going to see this evening. And just like each of the forms of the Lord, the Leela avatars commonly have some paraphernalia or some recognizable item, like Krishna has a flute, Balaram has a plow, Parshuram has a chopper, and so forth. So commonly, almost invariably, we see Vamana with an umbrella. And in his other hand is a kamandalu, a little pot for carrying water. And, very simply dressed, little brahmachari. And he appeared because of the prayers of Kashyapa and Aditi. That's parental affection, prayers, the appearances of the forms of the Lord. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, you see the reference, Madhya Lila, chapter 1. In Prabhupada's purport, as a long purport, he quotes Jiva Goswami from Bhagavat Sandarbha, which describes different Leela avatars and Manvantar avatars And the point is made that Vamana is both. We're particularly familiar with Vamana as a Leela avatar. He appears and performs pastimes. And his name is in the list also of the Manvantar avatars. Now, it doesn't give any detailed explanation. I searched, I couldn't find. Because in that list of there, so how many Manus are there in each day of Brahma? Who knows the answer? 14. You sure? You think? You're pretty sure? 14. So, and every day of Brahma, there's 14 Manus. Now, we know the names of those Manus, Chakshusha Manu, Swayambhuva Manu, Vaivasvata Manu. We know them by different names than the names that are listed by Jiva Goswami in Bhagavat Sandarbha and quoted by Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I don't know exactly how they intermingle. So I'm anticipating that kind of a question. And the answer is, I've been researching and I haven't found the answer yet. There must be an answer. That's not a good foot to start on. It's a question that I raised and I don't have an answer to. But I've been pondering it and there must be an answer. So here's some other things. Facts about Vamana, just kind of get the big picture. He's a very special, amongst the Leela avatars and amongst the Manvantar avatars, he's very special. We're going to hear something very special about him. According to Laghu Bhagavatamrita, which is also referencing Harivamsa, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, there's a list of 25 Leela avatars. It's not complete, but it's prominent ones. And the comment in Laghu Bhagavatamrita is, they're commonly called Kalpa avatars, because each of those 25, with the exception of Vamana, each of them appear once in a day of Brahma, as a Kalpa, as a day of Brahma. So they're called Kalpa avatars. However, Lord Vamana appears 3 times in this Kalpa. This is Laghu Bhagavatamrita, or Rupa Goswami explaining. During the reign of the first, or Swayambhuva Manu, during this particular day of Brahma, he visited the sacrificial performance of Vaskali. Now, you don't know who is Vaskali, but we'll find out. He's in the next slide, because he not only drops his name, but he explains who he is and the circumstance of his pastime. But it's during his reign, during Vaivasvata Swayambhuva Manu's reign, there was this person, Vaskali, who was the king of the Danavas. And Vamana appeared, because he took over, we'll hear, he took over Indra's kingdom, and he appeared and took 3 steps of land, got the kingdom back. Different personalities, essentially the rerun of the Leela, with some variation. Next, he appeared during Vaivasvata Manu, and he visited a sacrificial performance performed by Dandu. Who's he? We'll hear about him next. And then in the 7th Chatur Yuga, the 7th Yuga of there's 14 Manus. There's 14 Manus in every day of Brahma. How many Yuga cycles are there during one Manu? No, let's do it again. How many Yuga cycles during one Manu? How many? 71. 71? How many yuga cycles are there in each day of Brahma? 100. 1,000. Do I hear 2,000? Come on. 1,000 yuga cycles. So if you divide 14 into 1,000, it doesn't come even. So that means there's a little break or a sandhi in between one manu and then the next manu and then another sandhi and then so it turns out 71 yuga cycles, which we're in the period of Vivasvata Manu, and Krishna appeared during which yuga cycle of the 71? I'm not getting an answer. He's got a mouth, but I heard him, but you didn't hear him because he's sitting right next to me. How many? Vivasvata Manu. Krishna appeared during which of the yuga cycles of Vivasvata Manu?
28.
28. Very good. So the appearance, check it out. The appearance of Vamana was during the 7th yuga cycle. We're in the 28th, so it was quite some time ago. You get the picture? Okay, good. He appeared as a son of Kashyapa and Aditi. That's the one that we find in the Bhagavatam. In this way, to accept a donation, 3 times he took the role of Trivikram. You see by Trivikram's name there's a little asterisk. Trivikram means 3 steps. Tri Vikrama. Krama means step and Vikram means big step. He had big steps. Vikrama, Trivikrama. So in the next slide, so do you see the reference? This is Lagu Bhagavatamrita, chapter 3. It's not in sequence, but it's information about Vamana. Then in a different section, here's the information of Vaskali. And the Vaskali appearance is told in Padma Purana. So Jiva Goswami is referencing Padma Purana, where Vaskali drove Indra from his kingdom. Boo. The Lord appeared then as Vamana and took 3 steps to recover the kingdom for Indra. Essentially, as a Brahmana, sought charity. He said yes, 3 paces of land, basic, same theme in his pastimes, but a different personality during a different Manu. Vaskali then requested to be killed by the Lord in order to attain liberation. He recognized, wow, look what you just did. You're the personality of Godhead. Please kill me. Because by you're killing me, then I can get liberation. It's not a normal request. Dandu. Now remember this is the 7th yuga cycle during Vivasvata Manu. Dandu was the son of Danu and Kashyapa, which means in the different yuga cycles, there's the personalities, the names remain the same, the persons occupying those positions may change, but Danu is one of the wives. As Kashyapa was given a number of daughters of who? Daksha, right? Daughters of Daksha were given in marriage to Kashyapa. I mean to others, but for the purpose of creating praja. It was part of Brahma's plan. So Danu was one of those daughters of Daksha given in marriage to Kashyapa, and Dandu was one of their sons. By doing penance Dandu got powers from Brahma. With those powers, he drove out the Devas from Swarga. And the Devas took advice from Brahaspati, who said, go to Brahmaloka. So they went to Brahmaloka. And then Dandu wanted to get them out of Brahmaloka. He was mean. So Shukracharya suggested, we're going to hear this again, so take note, it's similar theme, a different personality this time. So this is Dandu. Do 100 Ashramedha Yagyas just to get entrance into Brahmaloka. So as he was doing those Ashramedha Yagyas, Vamana took his birth in the form of, Vishnu took his birth in the form of Vamana and begged 3 steps of land from Dandu, and he got the kingdom back. So Indra's, Upendra, Indra's at the center of all 3 of these during this particular day of Brahma. It's details, but just painting a picture that he is an important Leela avatar, an important, unlike the others. Very special. According to Lagu Bhagavatamrita, another chapter, there are, amongst the 14 Manus, 4 of them are particularly prominent or best. There's the 4, Hari, Vaikuntha, Ajita, and Vamana. Again, in that list of 14, it's not Swayambhuva Manu and Chakshusha Manu and Vaivasvata Manu. It's a different set of 14. Lord Vamana's residence, according to Harivamsa and according to references made in Lagu Bhagavatamrita, his residence is in Bhuvarloka. Do you know where's Bhuvarloka? You have your Vedic cosmology. Don't look over your shoulder. Yeah. I'm picking on you. You're in the front row. That happens.
I think it's below like heavenly planets.
It's just below the heavenly planets. Bhur, Bhuvar, Svar. Bhur, that's Bhuloka, that's us. Above Bhuloka is Bhuvarloka, and above Bhuvarloka is Swarga. It's in between. So it is said in some references that he is a resident of Bhuvarloka. However, it's also stated elsewhere that he lives on Tapaloka. So what Tapaloka is, right? It's just below Brahmaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. You ready? Let's do it again. Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka. What's next? Okay. Almost. We'll see a chart shortly, a drawing of the structure of the universe, at least the 14 planetary systems. It's good to learn these. I mean, it's not like you don't get it. You can't go back to Godhead if you don't know the names of the planets, but it's nice to know. Nice to know. So, some references indicate Vamana lives in Tapaloka. Tapaloka is a place for brahmacharis only. A real nice reference is Brihat Bhagavatamrita. When Gopakumar goes to these places, he meets the grahastas that are doing yajna, and they like doing yajnas because Lord Vishnu comes and extends his hands and receives the offerings in his hands. You heard that one? Yes? You think so? Okay. Maharloka. Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. So there's 3 different scriptural references saying where he resides. And one of those says he built an abode in the upper portion of Brahmaloka. That's almost in Vaikuntha. Now, he's a form of the Supreme Lord, so he can live wherever he likes. He doesn't need a passport or a visa. Or he has to do 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas. He's the Supreme Lord. Now, we're going to go into something that we're more familiar with, and that's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8. The references during the 6th Manu, so the Manu before our present one, Vivasvata Manu is the present one. The previous one is number 6, and that's Chakshusha Manu. So during the reign of Chakshusha Manu, after the churning of the milk ocean and the distribution of the nectar to the demigods, the demons declared war against the demigods. Bali Maharaj was the commander of the demigods, of the demons. It should be of the demons. In this battle, Sumali and Malyavan were killed by Lord Vishnu. I put those in separate colors because they're personalities who show up in Ramayana. There is an overlap. It's not always highlighted, so I'm highlighting it. There's an overlap of the pastimes in Ramayana, in some cases, with the pastimes described in the Bhagavatam. So, I won't go into it, but Sumali had a daughter. The daughter, he wanted to marry this most qualified Brahmana, and so Sumali was the grandfather, and his daughter then became the mother of Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and Vibhishan, and Shurparnaka. Sumali. Sumali was the grandfather of those 4, and Sumali was in this battle between the demigods and the demons. And they were all killed by Vishnu. Bali Maharaj was killed by Indra. This is later, but revived by Shukracharya. Afterwards, Bali engaged himself in serving Shukracharya, and thus successfully drove the demigods out of the heavenly kingdom. Battle, another battle, and then another battle. Then, since her son, Aditi's son is Indra, she wanted to help her son. So her husband, Kashyapa Muni, gave her the advice, you do this Payovrata ritual, austerities and fasting and this and that, and you'll please the Supreme Lord. And when the Supreme Lord grants your benediction, you can ask for him to appear as your son. So that's the very simple chronology. So here's the churning it was mentioned in the earlier chapter, churning of the milk ocean. Down at the bottom, that's Kurma. And on top of the back of Kurma is the churning rod for the churning of the milk ocean. What's the name of that churning rod? Mount Meru. Jagananda, that was you? Oh, that was you. Okay, Prahlad, okay. And there you see Vasuki, and the Vasuki, that's the churning rope, and the demigods who got the choice first, which side? Well, we'll take the head. But from the head was coming flame, so they got scorched. And the demigods took the tail. They were happy having the tail. And turning back and forth, and so many things came out of the churning of the milk ocean. This is the milk ocean. Yeah, the milk ocean, because the milk ocean, where's the milk ocean? It's at the top of all those planets, right? Not exactly. It's above Svarga, Dhruvaloka, the pole star, where Garbhodakshay Vishnu resides. It's below Janaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka, but it's above heaven. Yes? Whatever you say, Maharaj. Cosmology. So there's Lord Vishnu resting on top of the churning rod. And one of the things, there's many things in this whole long description of the churning of the milk ocean, but one of the things that came out of the churning of the milk ocean was amrita, or nectar. And the nectar was kept in a pot, and so the personality of Godhead, there was a big, antagonism about who's going to get that nectar. The demigods wanted it, the demons wanted it. So, who's this? Personality of Godhead in a female form, Mohini Murti. She took the pot. And over on the left side, that's the demons, and over on the right side, the demigods. They all got their bowls waiting for some nectar. And with her nice, gentle smile, she started feeding all the demigods. And the demons were kind of, wait a minute, we should get some too. But it wasn't quite like that. So one of the demons manifested a disguise where he looked like a demigod. And who was that? Starts with an R. Rahu. So there's Rahu, and he's drinking as if he's one of the demigods. Uh-oh. The demigod said, wait a minute, he's not a demigod. That's Rahu in the guise of a demigod. So what did Mohini Murti do? She got ready her Sudarshan chakra and chopped off his head. But because up to this part he had tasted the nectar, so that part separated from the rest of his body continues as a planet in outer space. Planet Rahu, which is Rahu's head floating around. You know that story. So there's a nice BBT painting. So after all this took place, the churning of the milk ocean, etc., Mohini Murti again transformed into Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu got on the back of Garuda and went to his own abode. Now, where all this is taking place is by the shore of the milk ocean. And what's his abode? A, B, or C? Is his abode the abode of Vishnu, which is the milk ocean? Because that's one of the abodes of Vishnu, isn't it? What's in the milk ocean? A white island, right? Svetadweep? Svetadweep. Svetadweep is what's on Svetadweep? Oh, come on. Kshirodakshay Vishnu. Thank you. Kshirodakshay Vishnu. So that's one of the abodes. But it doesn't say specifically, it could have been the causal ocean, it could have been Vaikuntha planets, but he always Vishnu. So he went to his own abode. Now, the demigods are victorious. They got the nectar. The demons were intolerant. They picked up their weapons, raised weapons. It was no longer peaceful anymore. They were going to have a big battle. And there was a big battle right on the beach of the ocean of milk. Here comes Vishnu, riding on the back of Garuda. Vishnu, or Lord Hari, killed Kalanemi and all the other demons. However, Shukracharya, being very powerful, he brought them all back to life. And then they were again killed by Lord Vishnu. Guess who won? Vishnu one. Sukracharya specifically restored Bali Maharaj, his vitality in his life. Bali became very devoted to Shukracharya. Now, Bali, under the guidance of Shukracharya, wants to regain the kingdom of heaven. So, Shukracharya suggested that he, Bali, engage in 100 Ashramita Yagyas. Same kind of instruction that took place in a previous Yuga cycle. So descendants of Bhrigu, they got together and performed a yagya called the Vishva Jit Yagya. Vishva means universe. Jita means conquer. So it's a yagya where you can conquer the universe. And they knew how to do it. And as they did it, from the yagya fire arose a chariot, horses, a flag, a bow, armor, and 2 quivers of arrows, so he could conquer the universe. And who is the grandfather of Bali Maharaj? Prahlad Maharaj. You sure? Oh yeah, he's sure. Who was Bali's father, who was the son of Virochana? Okay. You can remember all this? Yeah, maybe. That's a good answer. It'll inspire you to read the Bhagavatam, maybe. So, at this Vishvajit Yagya, Bali, the grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj, came, and he also gave a gift, an eternal garland of flowers. And Shukracharya gave him a conch shell, off to battle. So now they're all set, they're going off to battle, and they're heading into the heavenly region, and on the right-hand side, that's Indra going, oh, look at this. And in the center, that's Bali Maharaj on a chariot, and the background is the kingdom of heaven that he's going to lose. And they were so powerful. What to do? Indra went to Brihaspati. Brihaspati said, you better leave the heavenly planets and become invisible somewhere and find the personality of Godhead through sacrifice and see if he can help you. Bali has become invincible. So he left the heavenly planets under the advice of Brihaspati, and the mother of Indra wants to do something. So she asked Kashyapa what to do. And Kashyapa said, perform this Payovrata ceremony. I mean, it's just not just a fire, it's fasting and so many things. And so she did. And she did it so nicely that the personality of Godhead, pictured here, nice painting, with his 4 arms and symbols of Vishnu, etc., he appeared before her. And she then made her request. Please become my son. So this is the second of that list, Kashyapa and Aditi. According to Harivamsa, which parallels all of this, it's in the Bhagavatam, Aditi worshipped Lord Vishnu. He was pleased with her and offered a benediction. She said, O Lord, I desire to have a son like you. He replied, no one can be equal to me. Therefore, as an Angsa avatar, I will personally become your son. So there's the scriptural reference saying that Vamana is an Angsa avatar of Vishnu or Krishna. So sure enough, after some time, now all of these events according to the 8th canto Bhagavatam, took place during which Manu? Chakshusha Manu, right? Manu number 6. But it's not until Manu number 7 that Vamana appears. So during the reign of both Chakshusha Manu and Vaivasvata Manu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as a dwarf Brahmana, Vamanadeva, son of Kashyapa and Aditi. So there he is. He has 2 items in his hand. One is this little stick, and the other is a kamandalu. And someone's holding an umbrella over his head, because that's part of his paraphernalia. Very, very beautiful painting. I don't know if anyone has seen the original. It's really beautiful painting. Very beautiful. So there's ladies on one side, the men on the other side. Here's the detail. Had golden hair. Often he's pictured with a dark complexion, a certain kind of a belt of certain kind of kusha grass or something around his waist. And he's the answer to her prayers. So here's some other paintings. There's his classic umbrella and his kamandalu. He's often shown with a dark complexion like this. There again is with his umbrella and his kamandalu. This one he's holding an umbrella and a stick in the same hand. And the kamandalu. A very old painting, same paraphernalia, very recognizable. And he's dwarf, he's very, very short. Aside from paintings, there's carvings. And here, this one on the right side shows him with a little belly. Brahmins sometimes have a nice little belly. And here's a carving outside of a temple. Here's carving looks like made of wood. And then on the far right side is a deity with his leg extended. So now comes Vamana's service. Vamana came before Bali Maharaj when Bali Maharaj was engaged in one of these big yagyas. Now he's already taken over the kingdom of heaven, but he likes to do yagyas. He gets power from that. And so he, Bali Maharaj, very appropriately welcomed Vamanadeva, and right in the arena where the sacrifice was going on. That's a little funny. It shows Vaman with a beard. Anyway, what to do? And he did the rituals. One of the first things is a Brahmana comes, sacred water is applied to the hands, and he gave him a very special seat. And when he gave him a very special seat of honor, he also then did another one of the appropriate behaviors of a king. When receiving an elevated Brahmana, he wanted to offer some charity. So he gave the option to Vamana, what charity would you like? And he said, I'm a brahmachari, I don't need, thank you. He said, but I want to give you something. He said, well, 3 paces of land. And Bali said, 3 paces of land, look how short your legs are. So I have gold, I can give you a whole city, you can tell me what you want. No, 3 paces of land. So now notice in the painting, this is a very nice painting, just in between Vamana and Bali Maharaj is Shukracharya. And Shukracharya is saying, don't do it. But he already said it, so he's got to do it. He gave his word, and kings don't go against their word. Or these quality kings don't go against their word. And Shukracharya, tried to reason with him. Look, if you do this, he's Vishnu. And if you surrender to Vishnu, you know what? He's going to take everything. And if he takes everything, I won't have any maintenance. So don't do it. And he said, it's okay, you can take it back because you didn't say Om. A little Brahman's trick. So no, he's Vishnu, and I want to, you know what it says in Bhagavad Gita? Sarvadharmam parityakam, mamikam sharanam braja. There wasn't, Bhagavad Gita wasn't around yet. But surrender to Vishnu. You're saying don't surrender to Vishnu. I can't follow that instruction. Plus, I gave my word. He's a Brahmana. I have to. I want to. I will. So there's another painting. There's Shukracharya looking pretty nervous about the promise that he just made. A closer image. And there's little Vamana. And others trying to figure out who's this little boy. And so it was agreed. 3 paces of land. Now here's what the Bhagavatam says. Lord Vamana expanded himself into a gigantic form. Vikrama, not just Krama. Vikrama. He gradually covered the entire surface of the world. And by extending his body, he covered the entire sky. With his hands, he covered all directions. And with his second footstep, he covered the entire upper planetary system. Now you know what the upper planetary system is, right? Let's do it again. Bhurloka, that's us. Bhuvarloka. Swargaloka, that's 3. There's 4 more. Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. So with his second step, he covered the upper planetary system. Now what's above Brahmaloka is the coverings of the universe. His toe poked through the coverings of the universe. Second step. When his toe poked through the coverings of the universe, what happened? What's on the other side of the coverings of the universe? Huh? Causal ocean. So the causal ocean started leaking into the universe. And it just came down as the Ganges and ended up on the heavenly planets. And later it was brought down from the heavenly planets to us, etc. That's another Puranic story. Therefore, there was no vacant place where he could take his third step, because the promise was 3 steps. And there's the 2 steps all the way up through the covering of the universe. But he's Trivikram, not Dvivikram. There's a nice deity. I'm going to show you some deities from Tamil Nadu at the end. Compliments of Shatrupa. She found them. I don't know where she found them. She here? Yes, okay. So Vamana said, you promised me 3 paces of land. Where am I going to put my third step? Because it's covered everything with 2 steps. And he didn't complain, didn't say, you tricked me. He said, you can place your foot on my head. So he did. He placed his foot on his head. He got the lotus foot of the personality of Godhead on his head. How fortunate. Another painting of the same, and another painting of the same, little different style painting. Another painting of the same. Here Vamana has a whole bunch of arms. And then Vamana said, your head is not the 3rd pace of land, sorry. You made a promise, you broke your promise, and now I'm going to punish you. So this is the personality of Godhead, who've already demonstrated he's the personality of Godhead. Look what he did. He tied him up. He tied him up in a way that one ties up a vicious criminal, rope all around. And then the people that were in the assembly saw that, course, it wasn't he did. He had somebody do it. This isn't right. He surrendered everything. Why are you doing this? This isn't fair. And then there were some people who said, no, it was a good thing. And that, there's many verses, persons posing arguments in favor or against what was done. Including amongst the people that came was Prahlad Maharaj's grandfather. And Prahlad Maharaj said, very good. Very good. And then Vamana spoke. So I'm just going to summarize what are in these verses, but later if you want, you can read what Vamana says. Vamana says, people that engage in pious activities are awarded the fruits of their pious activities in terms of wealth and beauty and different gifts from material energy. And the tendency is for such people to become very attached to that opulence and very proud of that opulence, and that the attachment and the pride destroys bhakti. So sometimes I show special favor to such persons and I take everything away. He's Hari. What's the meaning of Hari? Hari, Hari. You heard it, you just can't remember it right now. I've got you panic-stricken, I think. It means one who takes away. Right? Hari, one who takes away. So if you're holding on to something you're attached to, but Hari doesn't want you to have it, he has thousands of arms and he'll take it. But with those same thousands of arms, he'll give whatever he wants to give you. So one who gives is another meaning of Hari. So Vamana says, when I show my special favor to one who has great opulence and affluence and has some pride, if all of that, I show my special favor and take it all away. Now, that particular verse, many of you know, Srila Prabhupada referred to sometimes about himself, that I was also like Bali. I was very successful, and my horoscope said this and that and the other thing, and I thought I was on my way to heaven. He didn't say heaven. I thought I became very affluent. But Krishna showed his special mercy, and he took everything away. I had nothing. But then he gave me his 2 lotus feet, which is what Vamana says. So then Vamana says to him, to Bali, I did this because I wanted to show my special favor to you, and I did this because I wanted the whole world to see. You had not even an utterance of protest. Wait a minute. I did this and I did that and you're tying me up. What's going on? No protest. You just fully accept it. I knew that you would. That's why I did this, because I wanted the world to see. Just see the quality of devotion of this Bali Maharaj. I wanted the world to see. And now they have seen. So you're going to lose the kingdom of heaven, but Bali, I'm going to give you a kingdom to rule that's more opulent than the kingdom of heaven. In Sutala, you ready for this cosmology chart? Bhurloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janloka, Tapalokas, Brahmaloka. That's the 7 upper. And then Sutala is number 10. There's 7 lower. So it's in the lower planetary region, but it rivals or surpasses the opulence of heaven. he also says you'll rule there for some period of time, after which you're going to take the position of, what's the position he's going to take? You want to look it up? Yeah, no. You're going to rule in Sutala, but after you're finished ruling in Sutala, you're going to become what? Look it up. Is that what it says? I don't think you're going to look it up. I forgot. Yes? Indra. And he says this place, this Sutala place, because it is especially protected by me, it is free from mental and bodily miseries, fatigue, dizziness, defeat, and all other disturbances. Not only that, you'll rule there for a long period of time, and I will be your gatekeeper. Really? Vamana became the gatekeeper. So that means that's another one of his residences, is Sutala, Bhuvarloka. He has a lot of different residences. These scripturally, there's different days of Brahma at least. So one time, this is now the Ramayana pastime, where Ravana, he was on a conquering binge. And he wanted to, find out who's powerful and confront them and beat them. So when he came to Sutala to engage in battle with Bali, that was a big mistake. Bali he flicked his toe, and Ravana went flying in the air 10,000 yojanas. He has a powerful toe. Now, 1 yojana equals 8 miles, so that 80,000 miles, one flick of his toe. So Ravana realized, don't mess with this one. Later he came back, knowing how powerful was Bali, and he wanted Bali to help him defeat Ramachandra. Knowing how powerful he was, let's have an alliance. So, what did Bali do? Bali, you're a great personality. You've come to see me in my kingdom. Let me give you a gift. I know you like gold. You see that mountain of gold over there? It's yours. It's studded with diamonds. Take it home with you. It's yours. It's a gift. He was very enthusiastic. And Ravana is very powerful. So he tried to lift the mountain of gold, and he couldn't lift the mountain of gold. And he strained himself. And then Bali said, that's not just a mountain of gold. It's an earring of Hiranyakashipu. In your previous life, you were Hiranyakashipu. And you were killed by an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. And when he killed you, one of your earrings fell down to Sutala. And that's one of Hiranyakashipu's earrings. You're no match for Ramchandra. I advise you give it up. Ravana went away. This is the second time when he came and got leveled. Mountain of gold studded with diamonds. Okay, so that's the stories connected with Vamana, the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. Now here's the photographs that Shatrupa sent me. 3 deities in Tamil Nadu. This is one is a really, really, really big deity. It's said you can't see the deity unless you enter into the whole place where the deity is housed. Here's the name of the deity. It has different parts. The Perumal is the local language, the Tamil language for the Lord. And Ananta is he measured the universe with his 3 steps. Kanchipuram is a celebrated place connected with Ramachandra. Ramanujacharya. Kanchipuram. This is another photograph of the deity. There's the Utsav deity in the front, but the deity himself touches the ceiling, the head of the crown of the deity, big deity. Here's a painting of that big deity. And a second deity in Tamil Nadu of Vamana, Trivikrama Perumal. And the painting of the deity is over here. He has his right foot up in the air, and the Utsav Murti is down below. Oops, and there's the actual deity on the right side. And the third, how do you pronounce this one? Sirgaji? Huh? Okay, thank you. It's, you don't pronounce the Z as a Z. I'll take your word for it. So there's the other deity, and you see this case, his left leg is up in the air. So that's our description of Lord Vamana and the day before his appearance day, on Ekadasi day. So we're honoring his appearance today. And just a little reminder, not that you need another reminder, but coming up this Friday, I'm going to be somewhere else celebrating Bhadra Purnima, and you'll be here probably celebrating Bhadra Purnima. And the reminder, if on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, one places Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. Whew. Powerful. Okay, so let's go back and see if there's some discussion.
Just to confirm, in the 8th canto, 22nd chapter, text 31, the Lord says, because of his great tolerance, I have given him a place not obtainable even by the demigods.
Right.
And he will become king of the heavenly planets during the period of Manu, known as Savarni, which is the next
that's
one.
it. Okay. Savarni Manu. The next Manu.
Next Manu.
Okay.
In the initial, Mars, in the initial part, you were talking about Leela Avatar and Manvantara Avatar, of how Vamanadeva is both. I saw a reference where Prabhupada quotes in the 1st canto that
Computers have good memories. We just have to find where it's in our computer.
Yeah. So in the third chapter, 1st canto.
Third chapter, 1st canto.
Text 5. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, the Manus who are prominent within this universe as follows. Yagya as Swayambhuva Manu, Vibhu as Swarochi.
Okay, very good. I thought that was the case.
And then he moves on to say Vamana as Vaivasvata Manu.
Okay. I thought it was the case. So it means the name of the Manu is a post, and somebody occupies the post. So the forms of Vishnu may occupy the post, and thus Manvantar avatar. Very good. Canto 1, Chapter 3, verse number 5, purport.
And it's, I think, reference, and I found the reference in Chaitanya Chaitamrita that Prabhupada, I guess, is speaking
Same.
of. Yeah.
This form of Vishnu occupies that post of Manu. Same? Okay.
I had a question, Mark.
Yeah, your wife has got her hand up too. But you got the microphone. Go for it.
One of the things I remember most from this particular pastime in studying the Bhagavatam is the relationship, what seemed to me like a really sweet relationship between Bali Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj. And when he was tied, when Bali was tied, he didn't express, people around him were kind of like
whining and complaining.
And he didn't show any sense of embarrassment. He just accepted it as is. And was very surrendered to that fate of his. And then when Prahlad Maharaj walked into the assembly, Bali had a sense of shame. And there, I didn't find anything in the purport that explained the reason for those feelings. But it was very intriguing that when the Lord bound him, there wasn't a sense of shame. But when Prahlad Maharaj walked in, he felt that. So I was wondering if you could comment.
I'd have to read what our acharyas have to say about it. I don't have the capacity to comment otherwise. I mean, one obvious is not just the filial affection of the grandson and grandfather, because here's the personality of Godhead. And what's his feeling towards the personality of Godhead? There's not resentment, no whining and complaining. There's no embarrassment, just acceptance. So it's something. I mean, you said it in this preamble of you're making this reference that he had a very special relationship. So yeah, I would guess wanting that my grandfather should be proud of me, and what an embarrassing position to be in. How's my grandfather going to be proud of me? I'd like to uphold the honor of my grandfather. Look at this. Something like that. But I'd like to hear what the acharyas. I'm sure there's some comments somewhere. You have something? Go ahead.
We see Bali Maharaj as the archetype for Atmanivedana, full surrender.
Yes.
But sometimes, or at least from seeing this, it seems that his initial surrender seems to come from duty, that I've made a promise to Vamanadeva, whether he's Vishnu or not, he's a Brahmana. And later the surrender comes in when Vamanadeva takes everything. But it seems that if the archetype is for full surrender, that duty doesn't really come into play with full surrender to the Lord.
Well, you layered duty on top of the pastime, and I don't know if that's accurate. It's not just duty. I made a promise. I have to keep my promise. He wanted to, when Tukracharya said he's Vishnu, he'll take everything. Great. Everything belongs to him. So he had. How did he have that bhakti? Answer, Prahlad. If he had bhakti, why was he doing all this other stuff? Well, he had bad association. But he had bhakti. So it's innate, not just duty. And then his bhakti connected with the personality of Godhead, just it skyrocketed. So I don't see it as you see it. It's like duty led to Atma-nivedana. His full surrender had everything to do with his relationship with the personality of Godhead, and being not just duty bound to keep my promise. He wanted. His bhakti amplified like anything. Okay, Sri Radhika's been waving her arms over there.
Guru Maharaj, we understand that the demigods are extremely exalted, mixed devotees of the Lord. So here we see Bali Maharaj, who is the archetype of Atma-nivedana. He is a Mahajan who in his next life becomes Indra. So does he, as Indra, also have similar tendencies that we hear
What do you
that are
think?
in?
What do you think?
So I am confused because
Well, you're not confused.
I don't think that, a perfected, he's only doing a service as Indra.
So he doesn't lose his bhakti.
However,
He becomes a very special Indra. Indra can be special. Indra doesn't have to be a lusty fellow. Indra can be a perfected person.
so the pastimes we hear of Indra, the Indra that we know,
Yeah.
that does not mean that like all Indras and all, that have these.
You're putting two and two together and coming up with 4. And yes, your math is good.
So, some of the demigods can be these totally perfected pure devotees that are just doing a service.
It's not the norm. This Bali is an exception. You got the microphone. Go ahead.
Couple of intriguing things that I heard today. One was how the Lord Hari, he killed the demons and Shukracharya brought them back to life.
Yeah.
And then again, they were killed.
He killed and then again brought him back to life. That's intriguing. Yes, we discussed it with the Chinese group. Like, wow, he's a powerful guy. Misusing that power. And Vishnu's power trumps the one who misuses power. But that's what duskritis are. They have kriti, but they're misusing it. And where's the fruit of that kriti come from? Come from Vishnu. And duskritis misuse it in opposition to Vishnu, specifically. Explicitly. Now, you want to go further with that one?
No, I think that's
Okay.
The other thing was Aditi doing the Payavrata with the aim of her son Indra regaining the kingdom and the
Yes.
Lord himself appearing
Yes.
as her son. It seemed like she,
Why not? It's a Leela. So she must have been an exceptional lady, not just, an average doing a Payavrata Yagya lady. She was an exceptional lady. The Lord, Supreme Lord, came, because besides it's his Leela, he came to regain the kingdom of Indra, because that's what in each of those 3 during the day of Brahma manifestations, you did the same thing. But why appear as her son? She's an exalted personality. Vatsalya Bhav. It wasn't just get the kingdom back for my son. There can be some mix, but like Dhruva, there's some mix. But by the purification that comes from her good husband, Kashyapa, and the service that's specifically targeted at the personality of Godhead, because that was what Kashyapa said, the personality of Godhead will help you. So she became purified to the point where it wasn't just get the kingdom back for my son. In the other three during those days of Brahma, the same thing happened. It's the Lord's pastime.
Maharaj, I have a couple of questions. One from today
This
and
is
one
very
from
this is
yesterday.
very different than the morning class with the Chinese devotees. It's nice. Thank you, all of you. There's more in the back there. There's arms waving. Go ahead.
Rahu is he's actually a demon.
Yeah.
But in Navagraha, he is worshipped, and he has influence on every horoscope. If you look at the horoscope, he has influence on everyone. But he is in the Navagraha. I don't know why the people worship him. So that was because he is a demon. He is not a demigod. So that's one question.
That's not a question. That's a statement.
Now, why they are
Why?
worshiping? Yeah.
Why do people do things like that? Modes of nature, right? Isn't it? Right from Bhagavad Gita. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Huh? Yeah. Why do people do that? Lower modes of nature? Isn't it? From Bhagavad Gita? Okay, next question.
Bhagavatam, which yesterday you gave in the slides, that Krishna preached Bhagavatam to Vishnu. That was one of the slides. He spoke.
Yes, it was.
He spoke actually, right?
It's
As
Skanda Purana.
Skanda Purana. And then I was just wondering how many verses were spoken to him. Because
Oh, I don't know.
which one is
I
Bhagavatam?
don't know. You can read Skanda Purana if you like. I don't know. But he spoke it.
Yeah, that's why I'm confused, because Vasudev wrote 18,000.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
But before
It's not that every time Bhagavatam is spoken, it's 18,000. The essence is the essence, and that's what was spoken. And how many makes the essence? At different times it can be different numbers, isn't it? Vyasa specifically, and these other verses that are saying Garuda Purana, and it has 18,000 verses, which the implication is some don't. It's implied. This one does. Which one? The one that has 18,000. It has the story of Dhritarashtra, that one. And whatever it is, 355 chapters. That one. They're not all the same. To say that the Bhagavatam was spoken doesn't mean it's 18,000. Don't put it in that box, and it's got to be in that box, or it's not the Bhagavatam. It's the essence of the Bhagavatam that was spoken. Could be bigger, could be smaller, but the essence.
Two questions from Sanchari. The first question is, at this stage of my spiritual practice, the more stories of Indra I hear, the harder it becomes to respect him. Yet, he's still a devotee who has seen the Lord in so many of his forms.
Yeah.
Is this a dichotomy part of who Indra is supposed to be in order to teach us lessons?
He's there's plus and minus. He's exalted. Plus or minus. She's got some other stuff going on besides pure bhakti. That's the general understanding. If he was a pure bhakta, he wouldn't be in Indra's post. He'd be in Vaikuntha. But he's got some other stuff going on. And at the same time, he's very exalted. He does some bad stuff.
The question continues, which I think probably you answered, but The question continues to ask, is he taking on a role in Lord's Leela like Arjuna?
No,
No.
it's got the modes going on. It's not internal potency, it's a mix.
And I'm having a hard time understanding how Indra could have such direct contact with the Lord in so many of his pastimes and yet act like Indra.
Same question. Next.
Next question is from a previous class about envy. Envy manifests in every stage of life. Maturity in the sense of growing up is recognizing this more readily and trying to correct it.
Yeah.
Is spiritual maturity in this aspect curbing envy altogether? Seems like an impossible goal.
I'm not convinced. If one has an obstacle, how do you overcome obstacles? The Supreme Pure. Contact with the Supreme Pure, then it's impossible. It's impossible the Supreme Pure to make someone, you or the next person, pure. Not possible. I'm sorry, I don't, it's not the case. It can be a very substantial obstacle, sure. But the Supreme Lord, with just a flick of his toe, can, with just a blink of his eye, it's effortless for him to take away any obstacle. Now, one who has that faith and connects with that faith, so that's not Indra's faith, back to the other question, that's not Indra's faith. He's elevated, but he's not, he has stuff, so is it possible to overcome envy? Yes. Absolutely. But does it take some effort and mercy? Yes. Both. Impossible? No, not impossible.
Amrita Kelly Mataji sent a question.
Amrita Kelly. Okay.
Does Bali Maharaj become Atmanivedana devotee after this pastime, or he is in that consciousness all through his life?
That was Prahlad's question. Just asked in a different way.
So
I don't need to say it again because I already said it. Go ahead.
she just explains her question. I'm thinking one needs to be like Ambarish Maharaj, performing devotional service with all their senses all the time to be fully surrendered. But we don't hear much about Bali Maharaj's devotion before this pastime.
That's right. We don't hear much about Bali Maharaj's devotion before this pastime. That's correct. Does that mean it doesn't exist? No. Did he do like Ambarish Maharaj? No. Ambarish Maharaj was Ambarish Maharaj and Bali was Bali. But, going back to Vamanadevas' question, he had a very special affinity for Prahlad Maharaj, who was Prahlad Maharaj, also one of the Mahajans. And Bali is one of the Mahajans. So there was, what practices he did, we don't know. But we do know that he's the epitome of full surrender. And it wasn't just duty. It was, back to the same question. He had bhakti given to him by his grandfather. And in the association of Lord Vamana, he was ready to transgress the words of Shukracharya, who he was deeply indebted to because he saved his life, etc., etc., etc. And by his advice, he gained the kingdom of heaven by usurping it. So he's indebted to him, but he went beyond the words and the advice and the instructions of Shukracharya, because it was the right thing to do, because of his bhakti. So, her question is, what practices did he do? We don't know. Doesn't say. So we don't know. Anything else? I see your hand, Jagatananda. Hang on.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So my question is about the planet that Vamanadeva is ruling currently, Sutala.
Sutala.
Sutala, yeah. So generally we hear the lower planetary systems are more kind of challenging places compared to.
No, they're called the subterranean heavenly planets. They're not challenging. They're not. It's a little enigmatic, little puzzling. Exactly what are these realms, anyways? But they're certainly full of opulence. It's there in the fifth canto. It's not just in this canto. In the fifth, there's opulence that surpasses, equals, and rivals the opulence of heaven. It's in the lower planetary region. So how's he got all this opulence? Well, largely, this is, I don't know the scriptural reference for this, but it's intuitive that they're not in the heavenly realm because they don't have the consciousness of the heavenly realm. They don't have the same devotion as the heavenly realm, but they have opulence. And if you don't have devotion plus opulence, what does that mean? Pride? No, that wasn't the situation for Bali, but it seems that that's one of the difficulties of being in a place where there's opulence and with not very elevated devotion. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was my question, Maharaj. I think you answered. I was just thinking in some other reference, I don't remember. In the upper planetary systems, there are the demons existing.
Yeah.
So primarily, the planet of the demons is in one of the upper planetary systems. So I was just trying to confuse with that.
Yeah, it's not crystal clear for me either, but I just said what the understanding I do have. Okay, Jagatananda up front, and that's, I think we're calling it an evening. 10 after 8.
Maharaj, just one comment and then a question. So here Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, when Vamanadeva arrives, Bali Maharaj, he washes his feet and he takes the water on his head. And so Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that this example should be followed by everyone. Lord Shiva is one of the Mahajanas. Similarly, Maharaj Bali also later became a Mahajana by following in the footsteps of Lord Shiva, who took the water of Lord on his head. So this is what Prabhupada writes in a purport. About he becoming a Mahajan, or like that. By following in the footsteps of the Mahajan, he became a Mahajan. And the question I was asked recently when I was doing these verses that, again, how do we understand Bali Maharaj being the son of Prahlad, fighting with the demigods and usurping the heavenly kingdom? You answered it, but could you elaborate? You said bad association. Could you elaborate that? Or
You want to elaborate on bad association?
I said, well, part of being territory, it's similar or being like the king of the deities. That's how I answered the question. So I just asked if that's okay or not.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Okay. That's it for this evening. Thank you all very much. We got balcony seats back there. Somehow everybody fit in. You have prasadam for everybody this evening? Really? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, or Premanandi.